This presentation is going to be on the chemical interactions in cleaning. This is my favorite thing to talk about when it comes to cleaning. So we're going to be going over surfactants, solvents, chelating agents, the pH scale, and how to prevent damage and sound smart when you're talking about cleaning. So sorry if I get excited. It might sound boring, but this is one of my favorite parts about what we do. So I'm going to start with surfactants. This kind of looks like sex ed, but I promise you this has to do with our cleaning products. You can get a basic overview of what's going on here. We have these little droplets suspended in this solution with surfactants, and these little guys with the head and the tail, that's a surfactant. This is the hydrophilic head. It loves water. This is the hydrophobic tail, and it hates water. And you can see they're embedding themselves in this droplet of whatever it might be, dirt, grease, and grime. And I'm going to pan over to a quick video demonstrating how they work.
We're going to do a basic overview of how surfactants work. Surfactants are the number one active ingredients in most of our cleaning products, especially our all-purpose cleaner, our bathroom cleaner, our degreaser, all heavily rely on surfactants. And we're going to pretend this styrofoam ball is a glob of grease on a table, and we're going to pretend this lollipop is a surfactant. Surfactants are a chain molecule. They have a hydrophilic head and a hydrophobic tail. Philic means that it has an affinity or attraction, and this hydrophilic head is attracted to water. So this molecule, the head of it, wants to do whatever it possibly can to be in water. If it's just laying out dry and some water is put down, this head is just going straight to it because it wants to be in that water. The hydrophobic tail wants to do anything that it can to be out of water or away from water. So the tail hates being in water, the head loves being in water. So when this is in your cleaning solution, it's kind of an off-balanced thing. It might go to the end of it might go to the bottle and try to bond to the bottle because this tail just hates water and wants to do anything to get out of it. So when we spray our solution, we're spraying millions of little surfactant molecules in our cleaning solution. And if we spray enough and leave it in there to saturate our grease, what will happen is our hydrophobic tails will find, again, anything but water, and they'll start sticking in this piece of grease. And more, there'll be millions of surfactant molecules in our spray, and they'll start sticking in this grease, right? And you get more and more and more. All of these want to be out of the water, and they can't really bond to the table very well, but they can bond really well to a piece of grease. So eventually what happens is you get so many of these in this piece of grease that the new ones can't find a space to get in and bond. So what happens is they start going under. And they start lifting this piece of grease off of the table. And again, remember, these heads are really attracted to water. So once the piece of grease starts coming off of whatever we're cleaning, these heads attract it to the water and do the work for us and just lift that piece of grease off. So that's why we pre-soak, and that's a basic overview of how surfactants work.
So hopefully that demo helps you understand how they work. It's the number one active ingredient in all of our cleaning products. Okay, next up are solvents. So think about grease, and if you've ever heard somebody describe it as a greasy, oily mess, that's because it is. Grease is an oil. And as you can see in this picture here, this is a picture of oil and water, and they're completely separated. That's because oil is not soluble in water. And so if we're trying to dissolve grease with cleaning products that are water-based, it's not going to be able to soak it up. So even though we have all of these surfactants attacking it, that piece of grease isn't soluble in water, and so we're not doing everything that we can to lift it up off of the surface that we're cleaning. And that's where our degreaser and things like Easy Off, which is a really powerful solvent, come into play. Both of these are alcohol-based solvents, and grease and oil is soluble in them. So it will dissolve and be absorbed into these two solvents that we use to attack oil and grease buildup. That's really all there is to it. They just dissolve in it, and that's how it's one of the methods that our degreaser uses to clean. Chelating agents. Chelating agents boost the function of the surfactants in our cleaning products, and they dissolve hard water buildup. And you can think of them as little microscopic thieves. So they're suspended in our cleaning solution. There's millions of them in there, and when you spray it on something like hard water buildup, they are attracted to that hard water, which is made up largely of calcium. They go over to it and they steal all of the electrons from every single little calcium molecule. And what then happens is that calcium ion no longer wants to bond with all the other calcium ions that are surrounding it. It instead dissolves into our cleaning products. If we didn't have chelating agents in our products, our surfactants would be the ones doing that work, and that hard water buildup would take all of the surfactants from our cleaning product and attract all of them so that they're not functioning and doing their job on the grease, dirt, and grime on the other areas of a shower or a sink or whatever we're cleaning. So they do the work for our surfactants so that our surfactants are able to be used on the dirt, grease, and grime that we're trying to clean up, and it dissolves hard water buildup. And so where hard water buildup comes from is a lot of, especially our southern service area, I think like Centennial, Highlands Ranch, their water supplies come from aquifers. And an aquifer, as you can see in this picture, there's going to be a ton of water stored in a rock like limestone. And what's funny is hard water buildup is just dissolved limestone. It's literally the rock that the water that we're drinking out of our faucet is stored in. And so when you turn your faucet in, some of that limestone dissolves into the water. It goes through the whole water system, through the treatment plant, through the piping system, into your home. And when it comes out your sink, some of that some of the limestone that's been dissolved in the water solidifies out of solution, and as you've all seen, rests in your shower and your sink, on your faucets, and all around your house. And that's where chelating agents come in. They take the electrons away from that hard water buildup and dissolve it back into our cleaning product. Next, let's move on to the pH scale, and we're going to start tying together everything that we've been talking about. So the pH scale is a scale of 0 to 14. 7 is right in the middle, 0 to 14, and 7 is totally neutral. So water is 7, and that's what the pH scale is based on, is water with a neutral pH of 7. So each step up or down on the pH scale is 10 times more concentrated. So a pH of 8, like you can see in the little picture, an egg yolk has a pH of 8, is actually 10 times more alkaline than water. Milk has a pH of 6, relatively close to neutral, is 10 times more acidic than water. And you notice that when I went down, I said acidic, and when I went up, I said alkaline. The higher the pH, the more alkaline a solution. The lower the pH, the more acidic a solution. So think about your stomach acid, how it dissolves everything that goes into your stomach. Extremely acidic, has a pH of 1. It'll eat anything that it comes into contact with. And that's something to keep in mind, is that the more acidic you get, the more chance that you run in damaging something, because it will dissolve a lot of materials. The more alkaline that you get, you run into problems like bleaching. If you can see from the picture that bleach has a pH of 12, and you can remove color from things. So where this comes into play for cleaning is that the more alkaline a solution, the better it is for grease buildup. It breaks down fat, oils, and protein and caked on grease. And so when we're talking about things like Easy Off, this has a pH around 12, and our typical degreaser a pH around 9. Grease is also alkaline, and going back to like bonds with like, when it comes into contact with grease, it's going to want to dissolve that grease into solution. And remember, we have surfactants attacking the grease. We have chelating agents blocking off any hard water, so the surfactants can attack the grease. And then we have the solvent that wants to absorb the grease. And to make it even easier to get that grease up off the surfaces that we're cleaning, we have a high alkaline solution. So we're attacking that grease with 4 different agents to get it up off the surface and into our cleaning solution so we can wipe it away. And that's why pre-soaking is so important. The more we can pre-soak, the more time we're giving our products to do their job. Now, when we're talking about acidic solutions, as I said earlier, they have a tendency to dissolve. One thing that they're really helpful with is hard water buildup. Hard water buildup is also alkaline, and when we hit it with something acidic like our all-purpose cleaner, it actually slowly dissolves it. It creates a chemical reaction very similar to baking soda and vinegar, and it eats up that hard water buildup and turns it into carbon dioxide and calcium and just dissolves into solution. Keep in mind, 6.5 pH, not super acidic. And again, the reason that we don't use anything super acidic is because it's really dangerous. You might see natural stones like marble in a lot of our clients' homes. If we were to hit this marble with something very acidic, it's actually made out of calcium carbonate, which is the same thing as hard water, and we would start dissolving it. And what you would see is it would start to turn yellow. So most of our cleaning products are going to be safe on marble, going to be safe on natural stone. We really rely on scrubbing and chelating agents to take care of any hard water buildup. Okay, what are our cleaning products made out of? I've already been talking about them quite a bit, so you've probably developed some understanding of what's in them. But let's start with our all-purpose cleaner. This is a peroxide-based all-purpose cleaner, and that peroxide concentration in it gives it a slight acidic pH of 6.5. It also has a low concentration of surfactants and chelating agents to boost those surfactants. The one thing I haven't talked about yet is that peroxide makes it a disinfectant. So we are disinfecting anything that we clean with this all-purpose cleaner, and because it has an almost neutral pH, it's pretty much safe to use on anything. It also has a low concentration of chelating agents. This is a very safe cleaner. We can use it on any surface in a client's home, and we're going to be okay in doing so. It's not going to strip the finish off of anything. Next up is our neutral, that's a degreaser. Next up is our neutral bathroom cleaner. It's right in the name, neutral. It has a neutral pH. It has a really high concentration of surfactants and a really high concentration of chelating agents. Very good for caked on soap scum, hard water buildup, general heavy duty kind of scrubbing stuff. This is going to be your go-to, but being that it's neutral, it's going to be safe on all the finishes and surfaces in a client's home. Next up, our neutral floor cleaner, just like our neutral bathroom cleaner, just has a different concentration of surfactants and chelating agents. The agents in this act really quickly because, think about it, we're spraying it on the floor and quickly wiping it off. It doesn't have a lot of time to act. So it has a lot of surfactants in it. But again, it is neutral. It's going to be totally safe for wood floors, totally safe for natural stone or anything that we're cleaning with it. And it doesn't build up. And that's what makes it so good as a floor cleaner, better than things like Bona or some of the other floor cleaners that you might find in a client's home. When we're using them as often as we are, things like Bona can start to build up and form a residue, and that's something that we definitely want to avoid. So that's what our cleaning products are made of, at least our core cleaning products. I think we've already talked a little bit about this, but one thing to really keep in mind and something that you can always talk to clients about is that neutral is safe. Our floor cleaner is pH neutral. It's not going to harm the finish on our clients' wood floors. Another great feature of this product compared to Bona or some of the other cleaning products that are available to most regular people is that this isn't going to build up. When we're cleaning your house once a week, once every other week, if we were to use some of the stuff that you can buy in stores, it'll eventually start leaving a residue behind and it'll attract more dirt than it would have if you weren't cleaning it so often. So things like Bona, that's more of a once a month cleaning product. If we're coming to your house weekly or every other week, we want to be using something a little bit lighter. So this is totally safe on wood floors because it's neutral. Things like chelating agents and surfactants, that's what's in here. That's what's going to help clean your floors without doing any damage to them. We've touched on our all-purpose cleaner. 6.5 pH, not neutral at 6.5. It's going to be 5 times more acidic than water, but still pretty safe. It doesn't have a super high concentration of chelating agents. It is disinfecting, and it works really well for glass and countertops and just general all-purpose cleaning. Again, not quite neutral, but still going to be safe on natural stones, still going to be safe on floors. It's only a 6.5, and it'll help us a little bit in dissolving hard water buildup. Next up is our bathroom cleaner, also neutral. The one thing that isn't as bathroom cleaner are a lot of chelating agents. And so I talked a little bit when we were going over chelating agents about how hard water is stored, or your water is stored in a big limestone rock reservoir before it comes up out of the ground and eventually out of your tap into your home. And that's where it brings these hard water deposits. And our chelating agents in here eat away at those hard water deposits. The other thing that they eat away at, because hard water was once a natural stone, is natural stone. So this is going to be totally safe to use in a bathroom at your client's home. You guys might see a lot of, this is travertine, a lot of marble, so this kind of white, milky, wavy looking natural stone in clients' bathrooms. The funny thing is, these are made out of calcium carbonate, which is the exact same chemical in limestone. It's just different, it's bonded differently, and it forms different rock types, but it's all calcium carbonate, and so is hard water. The good thing is, typically when this stuff is used in a bathroom, it is protected and treated with some sort of protectant so that our cleaning products won't eat at it. For our bathroom cleaner with the chelating agents, that should be good enough. We can use those these cleaners on natural stone without having to really worry about anything. What we do have to worry about is Dawn dish soap. You can see this happen a lot in people's kitchens if they have marble countertops and you go into their house and you look at their counters and they look kind of pitted. Maybe you rub your hand on them and you can almost feel some pitting in it. They almost never feel completely clean. If you look over at their sink, there's a really good chance that you're going to see a bottle of Dawn dish soap, and they're probably using that to clean up their counters. And what happens is the chelating agents in Dawn, there's so many of them, and it's ultra concentrated. They actually attract to certain parts of natural stone, and they'll slowly over time eat away at it. So we want to be really careful when we're using Dawn in a client's home. If we're using it on a deep clean and we need scrubbing power, Dawn works, and we can use it. It's not something that we want to use in an every 2-week client's home on a regular basis. If we need it one time, no problem. We need to clean up their bathroom, we need to clean their countertops, we want to make it look great, we can use Dawn. It's not something that you want to use week after week on their counters because we'll start eating away at them. So that's one thing to be aware of. Next up are our degreasers, our citrus degreaser and Easy Off. We've already talked about the really high pH. One thing that can affect is aluminum. So not sure if you guys can see it on the camera, but we have some discoloring here. That was from scrubbing this with Easy Off. You want to be really careful when you're cleaning up somebody's oven or stove that there's aluminum, that we don't want the easy off on that metal, because if it sits too long, it can discolor. Our citrus degreaser is typically safe enough to be on aluminum. You want to try to avoid it. You don't want to let anything soak for an hour, but typically you're not going to cause any damage with it. With easy off, you just really want to be conscious of what you're spraying it on. And if you're not sure if something's aluminum or stainless, it's probably best just to err on the side of caution and not let any easy off sit on that surface. That's the whole presentation on the chemical interactions of our cleaning products, and hopefully you feel a little bit more knowledgeable about how they work and what to be careful of while using them.